There are core expenses and non-core expenses. A core expense is the business requires this expense to operate, right? It could be with my CPA firm, tax software. We got to have tax software. That's a core expense. I have to have it.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
It is possible. You just have to think.
Yes, of course it's possible. You need the right strategy. And here's the question, Dan, because I think what you're doing, you can help a lot of entrepreneurs. We think of what you're making millions, and guess what everybody's doing? Most of the people, what they're doing, they're taking all this money and they reinvest it in the business again without knowing that a business is their own entity that can either outlast you or disappear next year for something that have nothing to do with you. COVID can happen, a hurricane can happen, AI can come, anything, right? However, if people use unconventional systems like you're talking about, and now the profit that you're making now, you take it and you invest it in another type of vehicle that give you cash flow, then this cash flow, you can take it and reinvest it in the business if you want. But guess what? If something happened to your business, you still have this cash flow. But nobody do that. Then not very few people nobody do that. Everybody, when you make having a business and you're making $1 million, you take all this money and then you people put it back in the business and back in the business and keep feeding this beast without managing the risk.
That's right.
And so tell us about that, because this is something that if this is a conversation that very few people talk about, but if entrepreneur actually can hear from you that have been working these hedge funds and understand risk very well, because all the entrepreneurs need to understand that you are in business. And I get it that you're passionate, I get it that you love it, I get it that you love, sweat, and tears, but this is your baby. But there is a risk attached in this business. It doesn't last forever, or it might last forever, but market change, things change, and you have to be prepared. Because if you have the plan that you want to live your life and you don't want to wake up with an alarm clock, this is something that I do. I don't put alarm clocks in my life for years. And my phone is on silent. Nobody can, my phone never makes a sound. If people want to talk to me, they text me and I text them about when I can call them. And I have a peaceful life for 18 years. I got traumatized because of my property business. Everybody wants to talk to me. So since then, nobody talks to me. So anyway, the whole point then is that entrepreneurs can actually plan the wealth properly to achieve that life that they want in the end of the day. So tell us a bit more, what can you suggest them, or how can you prepare that mindset to have like a sustainable wealth? Because we believe from this podcast that entrepreneurs should be happy, should be healthy, and should be wealthy. And we are finding out is a lot of our audience, some of them, they are wealthy, but they are unhappy and unhealthy. And some of them are not even wealthy, and also they are unhappy and unhealthy, right? Because of this structure is not planned properly. So tell us a little bit more about this, Dan.
Well, you can be rich, but not wealthy. And the difference I would distinguish was rich is you got a bunch of money in your bank account, but wealthy is actually living the life that you want. So I'd rather be wealthy than rich. Now, you brought up a lot of good points in what you were just saying about the way people will constantly kind of reinvest in their business.
Very common.
There's data that backs that up. So for the typical small business owner, 85% of their net worth is tied up in the value of their company. So 85%, but less than 6% actually know the value of the company. So they don't even know what it's worth, but they keep investing.
Wow, they keep
most of their
putting money on this, Oh, God.
Now, if we were to take that business and we were to look at all of the investments that they've made, most of them are underperforming the S&P 500.
Wow.
This is what I mean by what do I mean by investments? So your business has two types of expenses. Again, this is my language. You can't go Google this. You come back to me with it. There are core expenses and non-core expenses. A core expense is the business requires this expense to operate. Right? It could be with my CPA firm, tax software. We got to have tax software. That's a core expense. I have to have it. Non-core are optional things. Those are all bets, investments that I'm banking on it, growing revenue, saving me time, improving customer retention. There's all these reasons why I did it because it's not core. The business doesn't need it. Those are all bets that should have an ROI that we're tracking, but we're not because business owners aren't tracking
Anything.
It's an expense, not an investment, but it should be given the same scrutiny as of my stock portfolio. So when I go through this exercise with clients and we look at all their core and non-core, and I go, okay, non-core, show me the ROI. They don't have it. No ROI. Or when they do, it's almost always less than 10% a year. That means we're working way too hard because if I'm getting less than 10%, I should just move all that money into a S&P index fund where I get 10% plus. I don't have to do anything.
Exactly.
So we're working way too hard because we're not tracking these investments. We're taking too much risk and we need to claw back that money. Doesn't mean we literally go move it into an S&P 500 fund, but I have to beat the market because otherwise I'm working way too hard. So that's the sort of starting point. Now, back to what I was saying about figuring out your solvable problem, your unique definition of wealth, is that there's 6 levers that we can pull to accelerate funding your solvable problem. And what I teach people is get there in 10 years or less, because people want, let's fund the life that we want in 10 years or less. That means complete financial freedom.
That would be ideal.
So lever 1, recovering any money that you're unnecessarily paying in taxes. So small business owners pay 40 to 60% on average, big businesses 0 to 20%. You can access the same credits, deductions as a big business and legally, ethically cut your tax bill at least in half. That's just money that's sitting there that can be reallocated towards your goals. So step 1, easiest lever, tax planning. Lever 2, the cash flow engineering, which is looking at all those core and non-core expenses. And I have more of a methodology than that. It's the second to last chapter of my book that goes through how to engineer your cash flow. Now that we've done the tax side and the cash flow engineering, we have all this extra cash. Let's go and increase our liquidity. How much cash we have on hand. We can go borrow growth capital so that we can do lever 4, acquire more assets that produce income for us, hopefully as passively as possible. From there, we want to take effort and risk off the table. So we're going to continue to evaluate the ROI on all of our investments and the ROE, return on equity. And then the process just repeats itself. So those are the levers that we can pull to constantly accelerate with less effort, less risk, less obligation, funding that solvable problem, the life that you want.
Yeah, that's amazing. So Dan, tell us a little bit more about your book, what the book is about and where can we find it?
Yes, it's called Rigging the Game. Anyone can go to riggingamazon.com. It'll redirect you to the Amazon page where you could buy a physical or ebook copy of it. And it's really about designing a system to get you the outcome that you want in business, in finance, in life. I believe they're all interrelated. And I'm dispelling a lot of the misinformation that's out there about risk, effort, what it really takes to be successful, and the actual principles and rules that you should have around money so that you are always getting closer to the life that you want.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.